Now let's think about this. The Rambam said, "Oh, you're yun from Avram Avinu. Shouldn't you be like Avram Avinu?" Well, if you think about Hashem as being the tzur of the world, from which the world was yun, then that suggests that the world is like Hashem. Let's, at risk of misunderstanding, because of course Hashem is not a body, if we take this very literally, say, oh, the world was cut out of Hashem, right? Obviously, Kav Yachol, of course, is not the case. But the Rambam is suggesting that we could think of it that way by juxtaposing this quarry and saying, stones are yun from a quarry, you come from Avram Avinu, you should be like Avram Avinu, and the world was yun, so to speak, from Hashem. So the question of whether the world is like Hashem, is there a break between the world as we experience it and the world in its source? The fact that Hashem told Moshe, I can be called the Tzur, suggests that there is a continuity between Hashem, the root of the world, and the world itself.
What is that name?
How so?
Well, essentially, that was the source of our existence, and supposedly it's still in existence.
So, yeah, exactly. It's getting back to our being and seeing it really connected to its root. Right? And the Rambam is saying here that it is possible. That even though Rabbi Akiva says, don't say Mayimai, which is, understand that there's a fundamental break between the world as we know it and the world that comes from Hashem. But no, Moshe Rabbeinu, just like we said, just like Moshe Rabbeinu transcended the other meaning of Mayimai, don't go beyond human limits, Moshe Rabbeinu was told, there is a continuity of sorts between the world as it's rooted in Hashem and the world as it appears to humans.
The quarry really does become the stone. Right?
Exactly.
It's only a quarry in the context of its state now, but anything that was hewn from it, those stones are actually a part of the quarry.
Yeah.
They're not a derivative.
They are the quarry. They are the quarry. Exactly.
Right?
That's why it's such an astonishing muscle.
In one context, it's a quarry. In another context, it's a stone. Right? And then you isolate. In fact, even when you look at the quarry, what's a quarry? It's a bunch of stones.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're there.
Right.
So then maybe we could say is that you just remove time awareness, right?
The what?
That if you remove time awareness, right, then you become basically real time.
So you
right?
collapse everything.
So that basically the Avos were basically operating in a real time encounter with Hashem.
Okay, so
how do you explain that?
This is what we're going to get to.
How do you explain admiration in this context?
What's the question?
How do you explain admiration in this context where...
Oh, is he better or worse, you said?
It's not better or worse, but where we say that there is no Navi greater than Moshe,
right.
yet Adam came, he was the first
right.
who personally knew Hashem.
And saw from one
Right.
side.
It's an interesting question.
Wow.
Very interesting question.
Yeah, Adam Rishon, was he like Mama's the Alter Rebbe? Or was he, or he wasn't really a person?
That's the question, the Rambam. Okay, that's the thing. There might be a figure that the Rambam deals with as an individual.
So, to your question about the uniqueness in Moshe, I apologize, limited understanding, but
I think we all have limited understanding. That's the whole point here, right?
There was, it's actually our fourth great grandfather was a Kabbalist rabbi from the Vilna Gaon. He was the third mouth of the Vilna Gaon.
Who's that? What was his name?
His Rabbi Yitzhak Isaac Haver.
Is he great grandfather?
He's our fourth great grandfather. Wow. And he wrote a book, Yad Hazak.
That's the way you found
He
this.
wrote a book talking about Pesach.
I have it.
Okay, and so
that gets
the idea of Yad Hazak,
I used it. So I got it.
hard hand. If God allows the Jewish people free will, it's not working so well, we're in Egypt. I'm now going to take an active participatory role with the Jewish people. The Torah is going to be part of that. There's going to be rules.
Mm-hmm.
Then Moshe is in a very specific need and moment.
Very good. That's what we're getting to now. The Torah and rules and how Moshe is doing something unique and can never be replicated. We're almost done here. So I mean, of course, I wouldn't, no hostages, but we're getting to the point here, and it's relating to what you just said. But let's think about this. We said if someone perceives, now here's where I want to use some science fiction, okay? So indulge me here. We have a problem. You can think about Hashem, but then you can't think about anything else because Hashem is fundamentally different than everything else. If you really think about Hashem. But what if Hashem is the source of everything else? What if Hashem is the tzur? So here's my science fiction kind of way of looking at this. You unite with Hashem, but Hashem is the source of everything. So you come back. You become part of creation. You get spit back out because Hashem is the creator. So if you unite with Hashem in the way that Hashem is transcended from all of being and so completely have no association with the rest of existence, then you die. Hashem said to Moshe, you're going to get a special protection. The special protection is this teaching. It's not magic, it's a teaching that's a protection. It's a kind of consciousness that protects him. And the kind of consciousness is, although Hashem is, from one perspective, fundamentally transcendent from the world, there's a new perspective that Hashem teaches Moshe, where Hashem is the tzur and the world is quarried from him. And if you know Hashem that way, then you get recreated. Maybe it's like a constant recreation. Every time he thinks about Hashem, he thinks about Hashem as the creator, and then he undergoes creation. Now, here's what I want to talk about, why. And now, knowing this, we can understand now why this cannot be replicated. At this great moment on Har Sinai, where Moshe asked to see Hashem, and Hashem said, no, you can't see me, the pasuk uses an expression. Hashem said to Moshe, I'm going to pass in front of you, kol tuvi, all of my good. And the Rambam says that means all of creation passed in front of Moshe's eyes, because tov is the key word in Bereshis, Parak Aleph. It says again and again, Hashem saw that it was good. So Hashem passed the whole of creation in front of Moshe. So if you ask, Moshe wrote the Torah, right? When did Moshe Rabbeinu learn what he learned? When did he learn Bereshis? When he asked Hashem to see, Hashem said, you can't see me, but I will pass all my goodness in front of your eyes. That's when Hashem taught him Bereshis Parak Aleph. You're going to learn the whole creation, and you're going to understand the whole creation is my goodness. That derives from me, because I'm the tzur. Because I'm the tzur. So Moshe Rabbeinu was in creation, as it were. Okay? He saw creation from the inside.
So did Hashem show, so by saying Tov, Hashem didn't necessarily show the version of creation where he created the Olam, he just did.
He showed him the version, Bereshis Parak Aleph. He showed him exactly what it says in the Torah. That's when Moshe wrote the Torah. It's that, whatever Bereshis says, and the key word of Bereshis Parak Aleph is Tov, so that's what's captured here. Moshe Rabbeinu learned the Torah because he saw, how did Moshe Rabbeinu know Bereshis Parak Aleph? How did he know that? Because he was there. Because Hashem, he was in the engine of creation, as it were. Okay?
So he transcended time.
Yeah, exactly. He transcended time because he went back to Hashem, but normally you go back to Hashem and you're done. He went back to Hashem and he saw Hashem as the tzur, so he was like, oh, and I'm coming right back. And let me tell you what it looks like from the inside. Now he has a window onto the world that nobody else has. Bereshis Parak Aleph. Future also probably. Right. The Gemara that says he saw the future too, right?
The guy with the coins.
Which got future.
The guy with the wallet, he picked up the wallet and...
Well, that's not that Moshe. That's someone else. I forgot who that is. But yeah, but Moshe saw keep it. Question?
No,
Question?
No.
Okay.
I said that he kind of skipped a step.
Who did?
Moshe he went closer by Hashem, skipped behind the death phase.
Very good. No, so that's the thing. It's that he didn't skip it. He died, but then Hashem said, but what do you see when you unite with Hashem? You see that Hashem is the creator, so you recreate it. It's like Tchias HaVeisim. He's like recreated. Like Chazal say, Bnei Yisrael died at Har Sinai, and they said, we don't want to die. And you go, Moshe. Why is Moshe willing to die? Because he dies and comes back. He dies and comes back.
Yeah, but
because
it
he understands
didn't
Hashem's
work for
tzur.
the other guy.
That's what we're getting at. The question we started with was, why is Moshe the only one that could do this? Why can't anyone else do this? So here's the answer that I suggest. Bereshis Parak Aleph is a description of the world, and it's Moshe's description that he had from the inside, right? From the inside, he understands Hashem is a creator, Hashem is creative, Hashem made this, Hashem made that, Hashem made the heavens, Hashem made the earth, Hashem made the grass, the animals. And generally, in Bereshis Parak Aleph, we have a description. This went here, that went there, and here's what Hashem did. But when it comes to the water, it says Hashem separated. Hayavta. Hashem separated. It doesn't just say Hashem put some water here and put some water there. It says He separated. If the pasuk says Hashem separated, that's normative. In other words, that's like Hashem telling us what He wants. It's not merely descriptive. Here, Hashem put the grass. Hashem made the water, and Hashem made the dry land. If I take some dry land and I put it into the sea, am I doing an Aveira? Because it says in Bereshit Perek Aleph, Hashem made the water and the dry land? No, she made the water and the dry land. He didn't say that it has to be separate. But if it says Vayavdel, He separated, then this is not just merely describing what He did, it's actually describing what He wants. He decreed that the two should be distinct. So when the pasuk says that Hashem separated between the water and the water, and we said that means, as Rabbi Kiva told his friends, his colleagues, don't view the world as being ontologically continuous from Hashem. That means don't view nature, being as we know it, as being of the same kind as it is from Hashem's perspective. Why not? We see that Moshe Rabbeinu could view it that way, because that's what it means that Moshe saw Hashem as a tzur. But the reason why not is because the pasuk says Vayavdel b'mayim l'mayim. Hashem decreed He wants the two to be separate. Hashem wants the two to be separate. And how does Moshe know that? Because Moshe was in the engine of creation. And if you're in the engine of creation, if you see creation from the inside, then you see that Hashem does not want a world that's going to collapse back into Him, like I did when I said Harini Neskvodah. Hashem created a world outward. He created away from Him. He made something distinct from Him. And although we have the potential to collapse that by saying, no, I want to unite with Hashem, I, says Moshe, from seeing creation from the inside, know that Hashem's will is that there be a distance between Him and us, which is what allows the room for creation. So the reason why there cannot be a Navi after Moshe is because the protection that Moshe got was the protection that comes from transgressing the Havdalah. See, because Moshe Rabbeinu united with Hashem before he saw creation from the inside. Because Moshe Rabbeinu united with Hashem, therefore he saw Hashem as a Torah, and he, as it were, witnessed creation from the inside. Witnessing creation from the inside taught him the Torah, and the core teaching of the Torah, the first teaching of the Torah in the Bereshit Perek Aleph is Vayavdel Elokim. From seeing it from the inside, I learned, says Moshe, that Hashem doesn't want us to go onto the inside. He wants us to stay onto the outside. He wants us to respect Shleimus and Anushas, like Ram says, human limits. He wants us to remain distinct from Him, even though theoretically you can go ahead and collapse it. You can try. You're going to die. Why did Hashem protect me? Because Hashem wanted one person who's going to go in, see it from the inside, come back and say, Hashem wants us to stay distinct from Him.
That's another meaning to Lakamait Kamaisha.
That is what we're talking about. That is why Lakamait Kamaisha. That's exactly what we're talking about. Lakamait Kamaisha, because Moshe, by being Moshe, learned that Hashem doesn't want people to be Moshe. He wants us to be separate from Him. He needed it to happen once, so that there should be someone who could come back and tell us, I saw this from the inside. I saw creation from the inside, and seeing from the creation from the inside taught me that Hashem wants us to be humans.
So this starts after he came back.
Exactly. And that's why I said we're going to learn something not only about Moshe Rabbeinu, but also about the essence of the Torah. Because the whole Torah, the whole idea that there's law from Hashem is that we're limited. And that is the core teaching of the Torah, that Hashem wants us to be limited. Because if we can unite with Hashem, we're not limited. We can know everything. We can know exactly what the right thing to do is. This Vayavdel, this Al Toimu Mayim, don't break the limits between you and God, is not merely why there cannot be another Moshe. It's actually at the root of Kol Torah Kula. Because we cannot break the limits between us and Hashem, therefore we need law. We need to accept, and we need to accept Hashem's law ba'anov.
So what's the difference there then between that and Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov?
So my understanding is that Rambam believes that Moshe completed what they were attempting. So they started this, and Moshe was the highest level of that. And once it was achieved, what we learned from achieving it is that we should stay away. That is that. Here's Torah's Moshe. Now I say take it or leave it, or if Hashem said take it, put the mountain on top of us. But
It's not a choice.
My head is spinning.
is it too much rum?
Ramo Kodayim Hashem.
Came out.
Right.
So what was the function of that?
So that's a good question. Right, but he went in differently from Moshe Rabbeinu, because he said we're going in, we're not saying Mayim. So he's going into Paradise while respecting the human limits. In other words, Rabbi Kiva said we're going to go and understand Hashem to the extent that it's humanly possible, which was not Moshe Rabbeinu. It's a lot different than Moshe Rabbeinu. Ben Azai, Ben Zayim said no, we're going to try to replicate Moshe. It's an interesting question why Ben Azai and Zoma thought it's time to do it again, and why in general were they doing this?
Yeah,
No.
so we'll leave some for next time.
Yeah, it was a very important time in history. It was the beginning of Rabbi Akiva was the father of Tosh Peh, the whole Mishnah